Welcome back to the NEO 2011, arguably the biggest rallycross event outside the World Championships. We let Sean loose in the pits to find out just what is the attraction of this cowshed in Telford.
It's my very first Nitro meeting, so yeah.
This race is very, very nice. Really well-planned event with international drivers and that.
Hello everybody, I'm Jérôme Sartel and I'm coming from France.
Really exciting place to race model cars.
This event is getting bigger and bigger every year.
The competition is much higher this year, much higher.
I mean, it's pretty much an indoor world championships.
This event is always fun to be.
And have you enjoyed it so far?
I had a blast.
And are you drinking tea or coffee today?
Tea.
1 or 2 sugars?
No sugar, one milk.
Oh, sweet enough.
Well, we'll leave Sean getting to know the rallycross fraternity as John Hindhaugh introduces to this year's Neo Buggy finalists.
So it's all come down to this, with Jared Tebow on the Kyosho from America on pole position for the final. Behind him, Darren Bloomfield on the Losi, the Brit in second place. Grid 3, the Mugen of Spaniard Robert Bataille. And then in fourth position, Neil Cragg, another Brit on the Associated. 5 is the Durango of Ryan Lutz, and on the Associated, Ryan Mayfield in 6th position. 7 from the Czech Republic, the Losi of Martin Beer, and then in 8th position, Atsushi Hara on the Hot Bodies. Grid 9 of Cody King, the world champion on the Kyosho, with Ryan Cavalieri in 10th on the Associated. Jon Neumann in 11th from Germany. And then it's Simon Willits in 12 on the Mugen. Will position 13 be looking for Adam Drake with Veloci, the American. And 2 Kyoshos to round off the grid. Shinadachi in 14th and 15th, Jerome Igon. Nick Damon joins me in the commentary booth for the final. Jared Tebow revving the engine on his Kyosho and does get a decent start, but he's under pressure straight away. Got the inside line for the first corner and first job done for the pole man, Nick. Behind him, all kinds of action. That looked like the second place man, Darren Bloomfield, losing out there for a moment, but Tebow's got away, and that is certainly good news for him.
Yeah, it was a very dangerous start though. It was a very short run into that very sharp corner. We've seen a lot of action in the previous final, but that was one of the cleanest starts we've seen so far, and it looks like it's Martin Bay who's come up from 7th place to pick up second, the driver from the Czech Republic, one of the most versatile drivers. We've got Neil Cragg, the winner of the second semi-final there, battling away, bouncing off Ryan Lutz, who we've talked about a lot. Very tricky in that section there, coming into the main straight, John.
Bayer, Lutz and Cragg then battling for second position. This is allowing Tebow to get away. This is all about the result here. Time effectively doesn't matter in this 45-minute battle. And Tebow wants to stay away from these 3 because there's no quarter asked or given. He's been pretty impressive. I mentioned earlier on, Nick, that this circuit has caused some problems. It's not the most difficult we've seen here, but as we've got the battle for second just hotting up again there, and break off and finish the thought in a moment. These 3 are being joined. They were about to be joined, it hasn't happened, but this circuit has caused its problems, but it's raced very well indeed, as we can see.
It's a track where they can overtake, which is great. The lack of the massive jumps, we see Martin Bayer making my mistake, and the 2 yellow cars, I believe, the Cavalieri and Bataille. I'm not sure which way round they are because they look almost identical, which is great for commentators. But the track itself has been a good racing track. It's, as you say, a lot less kind of dramatic than we've seen at Neo Buggies, and that means that the drivers... that's Lutz making a massive mistake there.
He's a long way from a marshal. He's got to take at least 3 or 4 seconds, and that's going to drop him out of the podium battle.
Yeah, and it looks like Robert Bataille now is catching up to the back of Neil Cragg, so that's the battle, I think, for second overall. But just to finish the track, John, I think the cars are going much quicker because there's a lot more flat and smaller jumps. It's not as spectacular, but it's a track where people are pushing more, which is why we're seeing these half landings and everything else. That's a fantastic whoop-by-whoop battle there.
Yeah, side by side into the infield. And just what Nick was talking about. Look at the speed of these 2. Our camera guys working very, very hard here at the Neos this year. It is still just at the moment Neil Cragg holding the advantage in the lighter of those 2 buggies, the one with the white wheels. Now that is holding position at the moment. But look, you can see there, Nick, that there is some break-up on the dirt inside the shed here. Yeah,
if you get off line, it's like the marbles in F1, it's the dust around the side. They've managed to sweep a lot of it, but you go particularly wide or miss a jump, then you are trying to spin 3.5 horsepower through just dust.
Cragg, very, very good last lap. That was very quick indeed. And look what happens if you get a bit of consistency and you do get a clear lap. there is the opportunity to pull out, and we've seen a number of people through the quarter semis and now the final. If they can get into the rhythm of this track, they can make progress.
There's big chunks of time to be made. 2 or 3 second variation in a good lap and a bad lap, because it's as with all tracks where you've got a flow in them, you get one corner wrong, John, and it knocks you out for many more, and you throw in the jumps as well. Interestingly, of course, these guys were teammates last year on Associated, but Roberts switched to Mugen because he wants to be a team leader. He's the big name there, whereas Associated got a big team. We've seen the Americans have come over here to this event in Telford, and of course the other big team this year is Durango, who brought just about everyone who's available into their team.
Yeah, and they've done all right in fairness.
So a new team, them very well.
Robert Bataille there, who comes around. He's just not been able to put the pressure on Neil Cragg, has he? Cragg just a tiny little bit of a gap that he's opened up.
He's gaining on Yared. I think Yared's made a minor mistake off camera because he's now only got about 2 second lead.
Yeah, now that's come down quite a lot, Nick. You're right. And again, look at the difficulty on those infield hairpins. And that is Yared just ahead. So that is very, very interesting. The almost all white car with a little blue on the nose. Now, is he having a problem there? He seems very stuttery in his steering inputs.
You know what, though? He's lost his rhythm for a lap or two, and this is what happens. Rather than the spectacular tracks we've seen, this is much more of a rhythm track, and this is where you lose your rhythm. He's lost what, 2.5 seconds in that lap?
Yeah, at least. And he's going to find himself under pressure at the moment. And I suppose, Nick, what happens, and you've driven here before, that once you've lost that rhythm, somebody catches you up, and then the pressure comes on, and you go tight on the sticks again.
Exactly, and it's interesting. We saw this with Yared in the world's final. He had a couple of times when he actually lost his rhythm, but he is the consummate professional. He's a professional racing driver, and my guess is he'll regain himself and get it back together again. But he better do it the next lap or so. And that was an even lap. They're both equally either fast or slow that time, John. But it is so difficult. 45 minutes of concentration is terribly hard not to have the odd bad lap.
And then we'll throw in the traffic as well, which will come later on. Well, there is our leader. Just got
a bit,
yeah. Just sort of quick flash of him there, and that is Cragg in second place. And you're right, he's settled down. The leader, Jared Tebow, has settled down, and there's the problem for second place, man. Oh, now that was very, very lucky indeed for Cragg in second place. He's just about held on to it because as he got the challenge, I'm afraid there was a slight mistake there by Robert Bataille on the Mugen.
And that's Cavalieri through to third. So Cavalieri's getting over the disaster that was his semi-final. And there's
what
Martin
a drive back that was, though. What a drive back that was from Cavalieri, from 3/4 of a lap down to get into the final.
So Bloomfield and Bayer there, they're bringing up, I think they're the 5th and 6th at this point, maybe 4th and 5th. But that's, again, these guys have been battling for Bayer's been really, really impressive. He's obviously he's one of the most versatile. He's actually become the European large-scale touring car champion this year. And I can't think of two classes that are less similar.
Absolutely. He's proving his worth. And got to say that he's probably passed as many, if not more people than anyone else this week, because he does have a tendency to get by and then slightly lose his concentration and have to do it again. And that's no disrespect to the Czech Republic driver.
He's used to tarmac.
Yes, exactly. It's this dirt and the bumps. Just watching again. Let's see who's got the rhythm and who hasn't. Watching again there, Neil Cragg, who hasn't. But again, my goodness me, Neil's carrying some luck here, because that's twice he's been over on the infield and not had to have the intervention of a marshal.
He's carrying so much speed that those are little half mistakes are tipping the car. There really is. The cars are this year. There's been a lot of development over the last year, and they're looking noticeably quicker. And the tyre development is unbelievable, John.
It's Cavalieri who is behind him on the 10 buggy, the Associated.
Ryan's had a great year this year. He's become a double world champion in the electric car.
Yeah, and we saw it earlier on, didn't we, when he had that problem with the machinery in the semi, and just didn't let it faze him, did what he had to do to get qualified and get himself here. In with a chance, of course. He has shown blasts of pace like there, and the opportunist to overtake him over as he goes past Neil Cragg, and that was for position.
That little short shoot down towards the start finish is getting worse every single lap. It's catching people out. Luckily they're normally going on 2 wheels, which means they're okay, and they just lose a half a second or so. With the power out here as well, you can see it's cutting up. But this is every lap is different. When we look at touring car racing, every lap theory should be the same on a bit of flat tarmac. Here, even if you drive a perfect line, it'll be different because you'll microscopically land different. You'll be somewhere else. And that's a great move. There's Battle's gone past Neil Cragg there. Yeah,
the Spaniard. So Neil just losing for a moment a bit of concentration and a bit of pace. And that's a lapped buggy with some heads-up driving there.
Simon Weeks doing that, I think.
Yeah.
Mugen, so he's let his teammate through in Battle there as well.
I was going to say, you mentioned the surface there and about getting grip from the rear tyres to get forward momentum, but of course the problem is the steering inputs are different as well, Nick, because either the front wheels aren't on the ground or they're not getting the grip that you had the last time around. And look how, even if it's not breaking up, the surface now after a full event of racing is getting polished.
It is, and it's called a blue groove, which actually, and that's a mistake there from Neil again that cost him 2 seconds. A grand stop there, but he's going to get lead back because I think Cavalleri's at Battle. Battle actually taking some fuel there. We will be several stops in this 45-minute final. Tactically, last year we saw a victory by fuel stop, but this year everyone's got their engines working nice and lean, so they're all stopping on about 9 minutes.
So rejoining this battle, and the light changing as well through the day here at Telford, and you see just the shards of light coming in through the doorways as we're watching there Robert Bataille, the Mugen driver from Spain. And
a complete flip for Cavalleri there. He just caught it and just spun it.
You're talking about the speed. 9 times out of 10 these buggies are landing on the wheels, and if you can react quick enough, as long as you point in the right direction, the time lost is not too much. There are a couple of places on this track where it does take the marshals some time to get to you, like here, and we've seen, haven't we, in the semi-finals, that has cost people dearly.
It does, and I think that the other thing you see also, if you slightly get a jump wrong and you land flat, you lose all your momentum.
Yeah,
slightly
like that.
And that can cost you so much time when people really are, you look at when they take it properly, they're actually, the constant momentum, the great thing about these top drivers is they can jump and turn in the air and land the right way. But one of those 3 things goes wrong, it's a big time loss. And seeing as Darren now is being hunted down by Martin Bayer, who must have got behind him again during one of his little off-road excursions. But now here he goes to catch Darren up again.
Yeah, this is Darren Bloomfield on the Losi, the sort of bluey coloured car. And
caught out by those bunches
again. That has been, I think that's one of... Oh my goodness
dear,
me, that's not right. That was enthusiastic to say that. Do I suspect that there's a control problem with that car?
He's had a bad couple of laps. He came there at least 20 miles an hour faster than he should have done. As he goes, that's Martin Bayer proving how far ahead he is now of Darren Bloom. And then Darren lost at the next corner. But we're now back with our leader who's managed to get his serene progress after those couple of bad laps.
Yeah, Jared Tebow on the Kyosho, the American. And again, we haven't really seen him have to battle too much, have we, Nick? So it'd be interesting to see what happens if he does come under pressure. He's done most of this from the front.
He's put a lap on the world champion.
Yes. Oh my goodness,
his teammate and world champion is put a lap. Going to Taiwan last year, everyone thought that Yarrow was the favourite going to win, and being beaten by his teammate must have been a very bitter pill to swallow. Though obviously he did the corporate thing and smiled and shook hands, but that must have been a really difficult time. I think it's about to lap Hara. We get around that little conflagration there. So he's managed to beat both people who beat him in the worlds by a lap already. That's very heads up from the Sushi there.
Well, you'd expect that from somebody of Atsushi Hara's calibre, but they've got to be thinking. What is going on here, because Jared Tebow has really got the buggy set up, and we shouldn't underestimate the driver. Obviously has got a big part to play, but quite clearly he's got a setup that he's very confident with, and it's not point and squirt. Again, he's got that rhythm again now. Look at how he's moving it around and getting on the power nice and early.
He doesn't actually look as quick as some of the other drivers.
Which probably means he's quicker because he's actually driving smoother, yeah.
We're
unfussed.
We're back with his World Championship teammate, that's Cody King. Cody, who's obviously he's again battling with Hara. I mean, he's had a great year in winning as a surprise, but since then, obviously, back in America, things have gone back to normal. It's been Ryan Mayfield, Ryan Cavalieri and Yarrow who've been dominating everything, with Cody sort of picking up the scraps. It's an unbelievable competitive. There's so many professional drivers do this in the States, John, and they are paid very good money to travel all around America and the world to race there. You think about the big teams, they've flown over about 20 Americans to this event in Telford, in the middle of England. Even most English know where Telford is. 6
of them making the final. You'll have the Telford Tourist Board on here for saying things like that. Another fantastic event being put on here, in fairness, in this great facility that, of course, is unfussed and untroubled by the weather, as we see Martin Bayer there.
Apart from it gets cold sometimes.
Yes, indeed. So, excuse me, that's Jared Tebow there in the lead car, the man who qualified on pole position, heading in for a pit stop. Yeah, that looks pretty decent on the out ramp.
They're pretty good at that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's very rare. Very rare to see a mistake in the pit stop. The big worry when you go in there is the engine might cut. It might flame, and that has happened. We saw it happening in the World. But I think in these conditions where it's not so hot, that issue tends to go away.
It is one of those things where getting in and out of the pits are probably more worrisome than actually doing the pit stop itself. Those ramps sometimes are deceptively difficult to get up and out of.
This is the battle for second. I think it's currently in the favour of Cavalieri, the head of battle. So that's been ebbing and flowing throughout the whole of this race.
Yeah, those two guys have been putting on a great show. And in fact, it's Cavalieri just behind Battle at the moment.
It's hard to
As
tell,
you
isn't
say,
it?
they are almost identical. There's a little bit more yellow on the back of Cavalieri's buggy. That's the number 10. If you can spot the numbers for me, you're a better man than I am. And the problem for
that momentum loss there, bang, he was so much slower.
I mean, it's amazing throughout the weekend just how hard and how much punishment these vehicles take. Obviously getting a good check over at the end of each of the events.
The reliability is fantastic with the amount of power they're putting through, the amount of, if you think of the force of these things, they probably are landing, they're still doing 30 or 40 miles an hour when they land.
Yeah.
And they just have the strength to look after that with no problem whatsoever. I mean, we've only seen one car break down in all the races we've filmed so far. And that was after an accident with Martin Bowe, and he hits quite hard.
Yeah. So that is Bataille ahead of Cavalieri. Bataille with the extra yellow on the back. And they've put that the wrong way around earlier on, for which I apologise. Just check me notes. But these two have been, as I say, worth the price of admission just on their own. And you cannot underestimate just how much concentration goes into just getting around the track, Nick, and then having a plan where you're going to pass someone or where you're going to defend if someone decides to have a go at you.
Well, that's it. I mean, especially with the way the track is moving and evolving, and then of course get past back markers as well. So it is very noticeable. It is much easier to be the following driver than the leading driver.
You think?
Oh yeah, because you are reacting to what the other driver does, and effectively, as long as the following behind is quite simple. Obviously, the passing isn't quite so easy to put a lap on. Well, Darren Bloomfield, I think it is. And you see they get close, and they're a very good job. They're trying not to have any contact. They know both will lose out because there's obviously open wheel formulas. They intertangle and they'll be stopped dead. But this is a tight battle that's been raging for about, in real time, it's about 25 minutes.
Yeah, and side by side, and actually over the top. That is an overtake. We've many times seen in full-size racing, we've said, oh, he's just driven over him. Well, in fact, that was the case. And in fact, Battle just losing his concentration there, as Cavalieri had gone through, who returns the compliment, but does not lose the position back. And Robert has disappeared. That was the initial touchdown. Let's see this again. Still the Spaniard ahead. Does he actually go all the way over the top? Yes, I think he does. Quite remarkable stuff. And Robert Bataille just dropped back a little bit after that, and it's left Ryan Cavalieri on his own on the number 10 buggy. The Associated, as I say, one of the 6 Americans who made the final from the handful that came over here. Half a plane load, it felt like. He turned up here at the early part of the week. So coming round then to claim the spoils, here is Jared Thibault on the Kyosho. We don't know how good he is at side-by-side racing because he hasn't had to do any. He has been imperious and has won this one from the front. As he comes through, the checkered flag is waiting. If I can tell you, there's a bit of a battle going on, Nick, for second and third as we're watching the leader, because Robert Bataille is closing in on second place Ryan Cavalieri, and we'll just see the leader across the line. And there is that battle for second place. Cavalieri, who thought he'd dealt with Robert Bataille. Bataille's having none of it. He's closing him down. I may be just building this up a little too much because I'm not sure that Bataille can actually make the difference. Although we have seen Cavalieri have it flame out already. They're heading to the line now, and it will be Cavalieri who makes a mistake and rolls across the line, and I'm not sure who's second. The timing screen has not yet updated. Who has got the second place decision? Let's have a look at it. And in the slow-mo, Cavalieri is cruising to second place, hits the bump, and he's dropped it. He's dropped down to third place by 2/100ths of a second. There's our winner, Jared Tibor, heading off the podium, and Nick has already made his way down there to speak to our champion.
Lights to flag victory.
Yeah, it was really good, you know, just wanted to get some clean laps and try to run as best I could without, you know, getting in the middle of the pack. I knew it was going to be crazy on the start and everyone just going nuts, so I wanted to make sure my first 5 minutes were clean and try to build a little bit of gap, so if I did crash, I didn't, you know, fall into the big pack of guys, start going crazy. The track, you could overdrive it really easily, so my plan was just to push hard at the beginning where I had fresh tires and try to just put a lead on so then I can just drive easy and not try to overdrive the track, and worked out perfect. It was an awesome race. I really like the slick conditions and maybe it just suits me good. I don't know.
Yeah, well done. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Only the top 3 finishing on the lead lap. Jared Tibor really unchallenged, but what a fantastic scrap for second place. Ryan Cavalieri eventually finishes 3rd, but on the podium he loses out by 2/100ths of a second to second place man Robert Bataille.
The last lap was Ryan flip out, I think, in the last one or something, and it was really close on him, and I thought that the only way to pass him is just full throttle in the last bumpy section and try it. It's just luck, but sometimes win, sometimes lose.
And a good result for you with your new car for this year?
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited right now because it's a new car. It's just my 5th race with this car, and at the moment I'm really comfortable with them, and I have to improve more, I think. But at the moment, with this kind of tracks, little bit US style or something similar, I'm really happy to be second right now.
Robert, well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all from this first episode of the 6th series of RC Racing, but there's loads more to come this year, and up next month it's the European Electric Touring Car Championships from Austria. See you all next month here on RC Racing.